In the dark shadows of Haddonfield, where bloodshed and terror have long been synonymous with the name Michael Myers, a greater, more insidious evil lurks, one that has been quietly manipulating the course of Michael's actions. As the film begins, viewers are thrust into the chilling world of the Thorn cult, an ancient, secretive group dedicated to manipulating the forces of darkness. For years, they have worked behind the scenes, controlling Michael Myers, using him as an instrument of their twisted will. The Thorn cult is introduced in this chapter as the true orchestrators behind Michael's murderous rampages. While previous films in the Halloween series have portrayed Michael as a mindless killer driven by pure evil, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers presents a new theory. Michael's malevolent behavior is not entirely his own choice. Rather, it is the result of a dark curse placed upon him by the Thorn cult, which has held sway over his actions since his early childhood. The Thorn cult's roots stretch back hundreds, if not thousands, of years. The name, Thorn, itself is symbolic, tied to ancient rituals and ceremonies meant to invoke and control the darkest forces known to man. The cult believed that there were certain families, those with an inherent connection to evil, who were destined to become the vessels for these forces. Michael Myers, born into such a lineage, became the perfect candidate for the cult's malevolent influence. It is revealed that the cult's goal is to perpetuate the power of Thorn by sacrificing certain individuals to their dark god. The key to this ritual lies in the sacrifice of those closely connected to the Myers family. Michael, a member of this cursed family, is seen as the ideal candidate to carry out the sacrifice required to keep the cult's reign of terror alive and well. From the moment Michael Myers murdered his sister Judith in 1963, his life, and the lives of many others, was not his own. Michael's dark path was set in motion long before his teenage years, as the Thorn cult had identified him as a perfect candidate for their dark rituals. When Michael was institutionalized following his rampage in Haddonfield, the cult had already started to subtly influence his mind, manipulating him through dreams, visions, and dark suggestions. The cult had access to Michael through a variety of means, including secretive figures that worked within the institutions where Michael was held. Through these contacts, they planted the seeds of Michael's violent urges, fostering his desire for murder. This influence is not a simple matter of mind control, rather, it's a curse passed down through generations, tied to the Myers bloodline. Michael's deadly tendencies are an outward manifestation of this curse, a curse that demands destruction and bloodshed to feed the dark forces that control him. As the years pass, the cult's influence grows stronger, controlling Michael's actions with increasing precision. The fact that Michael survived every attempt on his life, whether by bullets, fire, or other means, can be traced directly to the cult's power. The curse surrounding him has made him nearly indestructible, his body a vessel for the malevolent force that courses through his veins. His relentless pursuit of destruction is not his own, but rather the work of those who have twisted him into their instrument of terror. A pivotal figure in the cult's inner workings is the mysterious Man in Black. He is introduced as a shadowy figure who seems to have a deep connection with Michael Myers. His exact identity and motivations remain largely hidden at this point in the story, but his role becomes increasingly significant as the plot unfolds. The Man in Black acts as a conduit for the cult's commands, working to ensure that Michael remains on course with the rituals the cult has in place. While Michael Myers has always been a figure of mystery, the Man in Black adds an additional layer of intrigue. He is the one who pulls the strings, ensuring that Michael stays on track with the cult's dark objectives. The Man in Black is never directly involved in the killings, Instead, he orchestrates events from the shadows, manipulating the course of Michael's actions from afar. In this chapter, the true extent of the cult's control over Michael is revealed. He is not a lone killer driven by his own twisted instincts, but rather a tool wielded by powerful and dark forces. The cult's influence is a kind of puppetry, with Michael as the unwilling puppet. This revelation sets the stage for the conflict between Michael, the forces of good represented by characters like Dr. Loomis and Tommy Doyle, and the evil cult that controls him. The Thorn cult's ultimate goal is to ensure that Michael Myers fulfills a horrific and ancient prophecy. The prophecy involves the sacrifice of a child born of the Myers bloodline, a child who has been marked by the curse of Thorn. The cult believes that by performing this ritual, they can maintain their power and continue their reign of terror. This prophecy is central to Michael's actions in Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. It explains his relentless pursuit of his niece, Jamie Lloyd, who has given birth to a child that is to be the sacrificial lamb in the cult's rituals. Michael, under the control of the cult, is determined to eliminate anyone who stands in the way of this sacrifice, including Jamie and her newborn baby. The cult's members, with their dark rituals, are willing to do whatever it takes to see the prophecy fulfilled, ensuring that Michael's rampage continues. At the beginning of the film, Michael Myers is confined in a medical facility, believed to be under control after his previous violent outbursts. However, the Thorn cult has not abandoned him. Through their dark and mystical methods, the cult orchestrates his release, once again unleashing him upon the world. This return marks the beginning of another bloody chapter in Michael's saga, as he is sent on a mission to capture Jamie and her child. As Michael escapes, the audience learns that he has been manipulated by the cult since his earliest days. His actions are no longer those of a mindless killer, but rather the execution of a carefully laid out plan by the cult. He is a mere pawn in a much larger game, driven not by instinct or personal vendetta, but by the will of those who control him. The cult's actions are not merely about causing chaos, they are part of a much grander scheme, a dark ritual that has been centuries in the making. The importance of Jamie's child becomes clearer. He is the key to the cult's dark power, and Michael's purpose is to make sure the ritual is completed, no matter the cost. Michael's movements become more urgent, and the tension in the film begins to escalate. The audience is left with a sense of dread, knowing that the Thorn cult's influence over Michael Myers is stronger than ever before. He is no longer just a maniac on the loose, he is a weapon in the hands of a powerful and ancient organization with a singular goal, the completion of their dark ritual. The cult's plans, however, are not without opposition. Dr. Loomis, the iconic figure who has spent his life trying to understand Michael's twisted psyche, is drawn back into the conflict. Loomis' role in unraveling the mystery of the cult will become crucial in the following chapters. He, along with others like Tommy Doyle, will uncover the secrets of Thorn and attempt to stop Michael's latest murderous spree. Jamie rushed to pack a bag. Her hands shook as she stuffed baby formula and clothes into a small duffel. Her son stirred in his crib, his tiny fingers twitching in his sleep. She tried to stay calm, but her mind raced. Michael was alive. She could feel it. The phone rang. Jamie jumped. For a moment, she hesitated, then snatched it up. "Hello," she whispered. Silence. Then breathing. Jamie's blood ran cold. She slammed the phone down. He was here. She grabbed the baby, holding him tightly. Then a floorboard creaked behind her. Her breath hitched. She slowly turned. The closet door stood slightly ajar. Darkness stretched beyond it. Jamie took a step back. Then a hand burst from the shadows. Jamie screamed. A figure in black lunged from the closet, but it wasn't Michael. It was a Cult of Thorn member. Jamie tried to run, but more hands grabbed her. She fought, kicked. The baby wailed. A cloth pressed against her face. A sickly sweet chemical scent filled her lungs. Her body went weak. The last thing she saw was a white mask appearing in the doorway. Then, darkness. Dr. Loomis stormed into the police station. Sheriff Meeker looked up, startled. "She's gone," Loomis rasped. Meeker frowned. "Who?" "Jamie." Loomis's face was pale. "Michael has her." Meeker stood. "Slow down, Loomis. How do you know?" Loomis slammed his hand on the desk. "Because he called me." Meeker's face hardened. That name alone sent a chill through him. Michael Myers. Still alive. Still hunting. Meeker grabbed his radio. "We need a unit at Jamie Lloyd's house. Now." Loomis leaned in. His voice was a whisper. "If we don't find her soon, she'll be dead." And deep down, he knew Michael wasn't just after Jamie. He was after the child. The future of the Thorn curse. Jamie awoke to the sound of whispering. Her head throbbed. The room was cold, damp. She tried to move, but her arms were bound. Her baby was gone. Panic surged through her. She looked around. She was in a stone chamber, lit by flickering torches. Figures in black robes surrounded her. At the center, Drive. Terrence Wynn. "Welcome home, Jamie." Wynn's voice was eerily calm. Jamie struggled against her restraints. "Where's my son?" Wynn smiled. "Safe. For now." Jamie's heart hammered. She followed Wynn's gaze to the altar. And standing beside it, Michael Myers, his mask expressionless, his knife gleaming. Wynn's voice was gentle. "It is time, Michael." Michael raised the knife. Jamie's screams filled the chamber. And then, gunfire. Bullets tore through the cult members. Hooded figures collapsed as officers stormed in. Loomis rushed forward, gun raised. Sheriff Meeker covered his flank. "Jamie," Loomis called. She twisted in her restraints. "Dr. Loomis. He has my son." Michael turned toward the intruders. His knife dripped red. Jamie sobbed. She knew what he had done. The baby was gone. And now, Michael came for her. Loomis fired. Bang. Bang. Michael staggered. But he kept moving. Nothing stopped him. Meeker pumped his shotgun. He aimed. Fired. Michael stumbled. But still, he got up. Jamie screamed. Loomis made a decision. He grabbed a fallen cult dagger and ran straight at Michael. Meeker's eyes widened. "Loomis, don't." But Loomis didn't stop. His knife plunged into Michael's chest. Michael jerked back. His body shuddered. For the first time, he hesitated. His knife dropped to the ground. His breathing slowed. Jamie stared. Was it possible? Had they won? Loomis stood over Michael, his own breathing ragged. Michael's body twitched. Loomis whispered, "It's over, Michael." But then, Michael grabbed him. Loomis's eyes widened. Michael forced him closer. And then, he whispered something. For the first time in history, Michael Myers spoke. Loomis's face turned pale. He gasped, staggering back. Michael collapsed. Lifeless. Meeker ran to Loomis. What did he say? Loomis's hands shook. His voice was barely a whisper. He said, "I'm not alone." Jamie's heart sank. She turned to see Wynn was gone. And in the shadows, a robed figure cradled the baby. They stepped into the darkness, vanishing. Jamie screamed. Loomis fell to his knees, and Michael Myers was dead. Or was he? Somewhere, far away, a baby cried. And in the shadows, a new pair of eyes watched. A new vessel. A new curse. Michael may have fallen, but evil never dies, and one day it will return.